Howdy, howdy. What's going on, people? Let me chuck this onto the old Facebook and we can get into it. Okay, done. Oh, shit. Righto. I've been typing away for a minute and there's a few questions popping up. What's going on, guys? Shorty is alive. I wasn't just zoned out there. I was actually posting it into the group. Yeah, let's talk footy. Let's talk Olympics if that floats your boat. Hey, let's talk racing, whatever. But I probably want to have a little bit of a look at what we want to do with Dustin Martin. I mean, I said Rowan Marshall was the obvious one, and look, he's all of a sudden quarantining. Who would have thought a couple of years ago that you could miss a player with quarantine? But he's in my draft. Like I mentioned, I'm into the draft grand final, which is what I'm gunning for. It's what I'm gunning for at the moment. Classic hasn't really been my go. But, gee, I'm up against some mates, and it's pretty crucial that we can go all right in the old draft. But thanks for jumping on board. Fire away your questions. I see a few already are. Jono, g'day, mate. How are you? Corey, Tyler, the regulars, back in form. It's good to chat. Good to see you there. What's cracking? Yeah, very little, mate. Shorty's just locked down. Oh, luckily for me, I'm working still, so most of the time we're listening to the radio, listening to SEN. I've been getting right into the racing, actually. Seems to be my lockdown thing. But so yeah, I'm watching a few shows, a few podcasts, bit of 360. And yeah, I'm kind of excited for the Olympics. I'm one of those, like I do get around all sports, but if the Aussies are involved, I'm all about it. I wouldn't watch basketball hardly ever, but I'll be watching the Boomers. And similar with soccer, I always watch the Socceroos, and I'm keen for the swimming as well. That'll be interesting. But let's have a deeper look at some of these questions. Jono, thoughts on Dusty out and Shy in? Yeah, I'm all about that. And I'll tell you what, it's this time of year that I kind of turn a bit of a focus towards next year, and I reckon Shy Bolton's an absolute lock for next year. I mean, let's hope he keeps his forward status. And hey, if you're out there and you've got a name for me that you're just locking and loading for next year in Supercoach, let me know. I think it's pretty interesting to have a look. But no, I like that. I feel as if they'll probably look to unleash Bolton in a similar role. And he's a pretty good pick anyway. But yeah. Kyrie, Shorty, how are you, champion? Looking sharp tonight. Thanks, my man. That's what Shorty needed, just pumped up, and we're ready to go. But no, I was just in the gym before, so yeah, the hair's a little out of control. I've just jumped out of the shower. Was working the shoulders today, so yeah, I had to widen my door. I was that huge walking through. Well, that might be an exaggeration, but I'm good, mate. Hope you're good. Dave, big fella, how are we? I'm good, mate. What's going on? Just reverse trades for Dusty from Bolton to Butters. Full send. Yeah, fair. Very interesting. Is Zach Butters back? Is that what I'm reading into your comment there, or did I misread that? Oh, nope. No, I missed. Well, what'll be good tonight? He's set to return sooner than expected. That's cool. I mean, Butters comes in that category. He'll be an absolute lock for me next year. Rowan Marshall will be a lock for me next year. A couple of guys that, I think have averages that, for whatever reason, are a little bit lower than what they should. And yeah, it'll be not. I reckon I'll go for about an hour tonight. And yeah, it'll be good to sort of get the teams on the back end of that. Tyler, you will be pleased to know my sources are telling me Rada is a Brownlow fave. This man just loves the sav. Loves a big sav. Jono, g'day to all you guys. Carl, short dog squillionaire. What's going on, Carl? Good to have you. Carl also says we should have jumped back on the Jordan Goey train. She wasn't a mirage this time around. Yeah, well, look, I jumped on that train in draft and proved to be an absolute ripping pickup. But yeah, gee, De Goey is just absolute burn. Burns you when you put faith, and then the double whammy goes good when you don't have him. And look, if Buckley was still coaching, he still wouldn't be scoring amazing. Clearly, the role change. He's obviously confident in the position he's playing now. He's really working it in the midfield. He's still playing a bit forward, but he just looks good. He looks exactly what we thought he would have been. But it's all in the timing, isn't it? Jono, shorty due for another haircut post-lockdown, surely. I kind of want to grow it, Jono. Look, to be fair, that the side bits, yep, fair. Probably could do with a cut, but I kind of want to grow it long, do the old random haircut throughout lockdown. Billy Boy, footy and AFL, Shea Bolton versus Jordan De Goey. Well, yeah, look, I was going to say I feel like you can't go wrong, but we all know that's probably not true. You almost lean towards Jordan De Goey. Now, that's like I just said, that new role is just proving beautiful. He's tunning up and he's doing everything that we thought he would. And I guess the difference, he's gone 115, 114, 124, 114, almost direct coincide. It's hard to say no. He's looking good. Oh, look, I think I'm going to go Rowan Marshall. I don't know if that's stupid or not. Part of that's budget, but I don't know. I just have a lot of faith in Marshall. I know he misses 1 week, but I don't know. Maybe I'm just burnt. Maybe I'm a bit burnt from De Goey. What's Bolton priced at? I feel like even though the Tigers have been such a good team, they've never really provided like amazing Supercoach options. So, yeah, right. No, you'd have to go De Goey. You're sort of hoping for a turnaround in Bolton, but De Goey's doing it. So, Carl, if only Robert Harvey had been in the hot seat from day one, shorty. So much pain and suffering could have been avoided. 100%, yeah. Even someone like Dow, he starts doing the stuff that you thought he would. That's what makes this game tricky. You not only got to try and pick selections that are good, but they've got to be good in the first probably 6 rounds. Doesn't matter if they go good in round 16 because you've probably turfed them like those 2 examples. Nathan, what's happening, mate? Have taken little notice in Supercoach Classic past couple of months, been all about draft like it sounds like it's been for you. Yeah, that's very true. I mean, I still keep a really close eye on Classic. As you guys know, I've sort of tried to fight back, but I'll be using my final trade this week, which sets me up for disaster if I cop any more injuries. But, yeah, draft – I mean, you always want to beat your mates. At the end of the day, that's what it comes down to, doesn't it? You want to get those bragging rights, and it's pretty serious for us. Certainly a few of us. D-Mac, who would you pick out of Stringer, Hind, and Isaac Smith? Has to be one of the 3. That's tough. I'd go Nick Hind. Now, look. Let me just have a little bit of a look see it. Now, obviously, Stringer's, playing this great role that, he's on fire, 180, 84, 110, 95, 108. I just can't trust the guy. I cannot trust him. He's had a good month. He's had good months before, but I've got to rule him out for you, mate. I've got to rule him out for you. Let me have a look at Isaac Smith. He might have better numbers now that Duncan's out, and it looks to be true. 104, 105, 92, 104, 99. And Nick Hind, he was a beautiful little draft selection. Pre-season, I said, don't be surprised if Hind goes 90 plus. And none of my mates were really keen on him, and I was able to swoop in him late. That is a tough question. Look, my gut says Nick Hind, but he hasn't had the best 5 weeks. Now, Stringer, if you want the roller coaster ride, he's probably your guy. Isaac Smith is probably safe, vanilla, solid. Look, Hind has only had 4 tons for the year, but he's consistent as hell. Okay, he had 61 in round 15, but he does dish up a few sort of high 80s. Look, there's nothing sexy about him. Look, yeah, like I said, my gut says Nick Hind. Isaac Smith, if you believe that he's a new man without Duncan in there. But if you need some weapons, if you really want to take a risk, Stringer is your guy. But I would still back in Nick Hind. Yeah, it's a tough question, though. I like the tough ones. But Carl got Dusty to replace this week. 2 trades left. Yeah, well, that's going to be the topic, isn't it? And a lot of people don't have a lot of cash to spare as well. So, look, I really do think Rowan Marshall's your clear-cut guy. He can average triple figures. All the other guys we're just hoping can, but we know he will. It's just tricky and awkward that I think it'd be a no-brainer if he wasn't missing this week. But yeah, I think DeGoey's running popular and quite a few people sort of talking Bolton as well. Nathan's back. How is it your draft grand final this week? First week of finals in my draft this week. Well, it's not the grand final. So I'm not exactly sure. We must have started round 1, and I'm doing a 3-week draft, 3-week draft finals, and we skipped the buys. So we didn't play through the buys. I think it's ridiculous. Just comes down to luck. And so what we did last week was 1 played 2. So it was me versus Ned. I won that and went straight to the grand final, which is next week. So this week is Langers versus Ned. So the loser of the top 2 get a second chance. And Langers won the elimination final. So I will play the winner of them. So, yeah, if that makes sense. 3-week final series. So we might have just started on different weeks, mate. Carl could go Dusty to Hall this week and then Newcomb all the way up to Rowan Marshall next week. Will give me cover across all lines. Jesus, mate, you're going way better than me and a lot of other people. If you can do that, mate, go for your life. That's really good. Corey, should I trade Dusty and Langford this week? Have only 2 trades, or should I just trade Dusty to either Dale, Hawkins, or DeGoey? Yeah, look, I wouldn't want to sit on 0 trades just yet. Yeah, it's frustrating that, to have an out-of-form player, but he is playing. So definitely get rid of Dusty and maybe just hold fire because you probably, I'm not liking the fact that I'll have 0 trades for a month or so. So I think if you can avoid that, I would advise that. Hawkins, I don't know. I mean, he'll have his days, but he's a key forward, He's a key forward, and I'd almost preference one of Dale or DeGoey, but Dale had a poor week the other week, but he's been pretty solid otherwise. The famous Famus. What's happening, mate? For the last 2 trades, I can trade Bianco and Dusty to Danger. and Ginnivan. Or any forward under 125k if named. They have Green and Whitfield in the team, but rookie cover for both in case. Thoughts? Yeah, isn't this quarantine shit just an unexpected debacle? Now, here's my thoughts on quarantine players. You should just get their average or their average over the last 5 weeks. You shouldn't be penalised for something that is completely down to luck and totally disadvantages you. Now, if a guy gets injured or he gets dropped, that's part of the game. Quarantine ain't part of the game. And particularly for last week, I said it in my press conference, I was like, if I had Mills or Green and I was ranked 87th and still a chance to win the 50K, God, I just don't think that's fair. I don't know what the old Herald Sun thinks of that. But to answer your question, mate, look, I love the trades, but just be wary of having no trades left. Like, you might get lucky if you've got some good cover. That's great, but like the trades, if you're comfortable having 0 at this point, then do it. Yeah, Carl. This was flowing on from your last message, including the ruck line and a completed side. Could you condone it even if it meant running on fumes and no trades for last month? What was your earlier bit? Oh, yep. Look, if you've got cover, then yeah, I would. It all comes down to if you're comfortable having 0 trades, but you feel like you can cover little bits and pieces, then go for it. It really comes down to how many rookies you've got playing just in case. Because, look, we've got 4 or 5 rounds left. Let's look at it percentage-wise. You would be unlikely to get 2 injuries that really destroy you. You're probably likely to get 1 player that misses a week or 2 or resting. But you'd be unlucky to really be destroyed. So if you want to roll those dice, be my guest. I always like, when I was in a position 2, I always like to have 1 trade sort of in that last 3 to 4 weeks and, the old emergency trade just in case. But this year has been different. This year has been carnage. Personally, I've gone hard over the last couple of months. I've just been like, I'm trading hard, and I'm rolling those dice. So I'm going to continue to do that. I'm not going to have a full side, just with the shocking run of luck and also bad selections that I started with. You pay the price for that, but I still reckon I've got a side that can finish this year half decent if we get a bit of luck. Corey says lock in Sicily next year. Very good call. Very good call. Jono says Jack Steele, lock him in. I like that as well. I think I might do that. He's become one of my faves. Nathan, who have been your unexpected heroes in the draft this season? Yeah, well, like I mentioned before, Nick Hind was one. Jordan Dawson, been a really good selection. Let me bring up the team. Blake Hardwick was one that I, didn't expect to be a great selection, but has proven to be pretty reasonable. I picked up Sam Walsh in draft, who went way lower than he would now. Of late, Matthew Kennedy has actually been. So I had a couple of injuries in the forward line and just needed something. I think I had Jarman Impey and obviously Dusty. So to pick up Matthew Kennedy, who's playing some seriously good footy in the midfield for Carlton, could prove a gem. Justin, my next year's looking especially, my next year one's looking at especially miss the year and the price drop. Sicily, Malira, Bruce. Yeah, interesting. Isn't Miller just an interesting cat? He's on our radar all the time. Just gets injured all the time. Thanks to everyone who's jumped on board. Clocked it up to 30 people. That's not too bad, actually. I was just being bloody flat chat. Like, I'm sort of lucky working through lockdown. Like, my work actually gets busier. So, just been working a stack of evenings. So, apologies for not being able to do the live sesh much lately, but it's good to see that there's some familiar names popping back up in the comments. Good to see. Billy Boy, don't mind 2022 for Noah Anderson. Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, he's a massive star on the rise, I reckon, and his good mate, Matty Rowell, has to be considered, doesn't he? Like, he's been slow coming back. There's no doubt about that. And I feel as if I've been looking at his centre bounce numbers and he's sort of just been eased back into it. So I think most people will be looking for him to really bounce back to some really good stuff next year with a full preseason, hopefully. Giath, can't believe I started Bolton, then traded when he scored 24 against Sydney. Yes, that hurts. And it's the old natural reaction to a score like that. I mean, it kills you, doesn't it? At the time, it was probably reasonable, but a bit like De Goey, you look back and it's sort of, at the time it's the right call, but you go, damn, that stings now. Jono says he's quoting Kenny Hinkley, we will bring Butters, Rosie, Dersman into the side. Interesting. Yeah, well, I'll be hoping that Butters just comes back nice and slow, eases into it, and nice little price. Tyler, he's still on radar for the Brownlow. Look, I'll give you odds of 10,000 to 1 there, and feel free to chuck $1 on it. Joe, Sean Darcy, number 1 in 2022. Yeah, his numbers have been insane. Blew me away. I was sort of slow to the party. Langers messaged me and he's like, mate, have you seen how Darcy's been going? And I was like, Jesus Christ, like massive scores. Crazy. Even against the Cats the other day, he missed like a quarter and he still scored 160. Jono, grow a mullet in that case. Yeah, don't know if the mullet's gonna be a go to suit Shorty, but I'm up to taking all ideas. Corey, my draft team picked up De Goey and Sean Darcy, Isaac Smith, Hall Parrish at the back end of the season and won from 4th by 24 points with Mills out last week. Well done, mate. That's the Parrish selection in particular is a real, and the Sean Darcy for that matter. That's real good. Jono, can I ring in, Shorty, as we are getting close to the end of the year? Probably no call at the moment, mate, but I am enjoying having you on board. Feel free to flick through any questions, mate. It's probably just easier that way. Oh, Langers. Hi, Daniel. Hi, Jake. How are you? My good friend Langers is isolating, a bit of self-isolation. He doesn't have COVID, but was one of those MCC dudes. Amusement productions. What do I do with my team? Put it in the fire and eat the ashes or flush it down the toilet? It's a tough call. Yes, I'd probably lean towards the toilet call. Just probably more satisfying. But, yeah, turn it to 2022, mate. It happens to the best of us. Every year, these last 6 to 8 rounds can be difficult if it's been a tough year. What do you got for me, Langers? Do you think there will be any concessions or changes to Supercoach next year? A lot of people had bad experience this year and not all will come back. Interesting to see what they try to get people back. Well, I hope they don't, because it has been a tough year and just accept it. If it was me, I'd take more trades away from us. We've had 32 this year. And look, Jake, that probably just sums up society. If things don't go well, we cry to mummy. Oh, Jesus, I had a tough year in Supercoach. Get over it. Come back next year and do better. Oh, if it was me, I would have 28 trades. I think you need to place a higher value on trades. I say it all the time. When I first started Supercoach, we had 20 trades. 20 trades. There were no reverse trades back then. If you made a trade on Tuesday, I remember so many mates at school going, I traded on Tuesday and now the team's come out. Supercoach has changed a lot. But, yeah, to answer your question, mate, I probably feel as if they might do something like that. But it's just been a tough year. And that happens, like I just think sometimes things are difficult and not everybody's had a good experience, but you get that most years. Like I say to you, a lot of times after the buy, people throw it away. But the ones who really love it, they stick around, and it's about all we can do. Jono, I reckon we should get an increase to salary cap, Langers. That's an interesting idea. I do think we need more control, because the whole premise of Supercoach is that you're the coach. You coach this team. And as a coach, you should have more levers to pull. We don't have much control once we pick the side. I would like more of an ability to have flexibility over trades. Still have 28 trades, but have the option to make 4 trades in a week rather than being limited to 2 every week, 3 in buys. If you want to make 4, make 4. It's risky, but do it. And the salary cap might be interesting. I just wonder. I wonder what they do. But Charlie, can afford any mid. Is Steele the best option? How are you, mate? Hope you're well. Look, I mean, if you can afford anyone, go with Steele or Walsh. McRae is reliable as anyone. The Demons, Petrarca and Oliver, if I didn't say him already, Bontempelli. We're not short on star mids, thankfully. So, take your pick, I reckon. But Steele, he is so consistent, it's crazy. Langers, yes, Collingwood Ford Ginny van. You're a bloody wanker, mate. You're an absolute tool. I know it's your favourite part of the video, Jake, me trying to fumble my way through names that I've never heard of in my life. Nathan, get your point on it. Not being fair about Mills and Green being laid out due to having to isolate, but surely no different to someone being laid out due to getting injured or in the warm-up. Well, not really. That's an injury, and injuries happen. Yes, it's unfortunate, but these were fully fit players that just had to be taken out of the side. So I do get your point there, but I just think it's stiff. And it didn't hurt me that much. I had Mills, didn't worry me that much. I more feel for people who are in contention or are in money leagues or something like that with a fair bit riding on it. I just think in this unique circumstance, I thought it was a bit stiff. But Ollie, is Brodie Smith an option for Highmore replacement? How are you, Ollie? Look, I wouldn't have thought so. No, he had a good week last week and not sure what else he's been doing, but he's been going all right, actually. 97, 88, 110, 108. Look, he's certainly not a bad option, but he's probably not my number one guy. If you want to let me know how many or what's the most you can sort of afford in terms of price, I'll have a look for you. Old mate Daniel, what's going on, mate? What are your thoughts on Rourke Smith as a cheap option? Boy. Old Rourke Smith. Didn't think I'd see his name pop up today. Wouldn't recognise the bloke if he bobbed up in my cereal. But no, I don't really see the merit in that one. He's 300k, hasn't been scoring much. There's got to be better options, surely. I mean, if you're looking for a cheap option that's, sort of risk-free, like his job security surely can't be that good. So, no, I'd probably shop elsewhere there, mate. Xavier, plus I have to Rome and Marshall. Now I've been burnt twice now this year. Yeah. Look, I mean, it is frustrating, but look, at least Marshall will miss just the 1 week of football. But, it is annoying. Nathan's back. Sounds like we've had very similar teams in draft over the season. Yeah, had Hardwick and Walsh from the start. Had Impey till he got injured. Now have Kennedy in the forline. Wow, that's crazy. Tuka's been fired. Yeah, that's bizarre similarities, mate. Nice work. And, Tuke would be an amazing selection. I'm not sure who picked him up in our thing. He would have just been a late selection. AFL Unlimited, Schmiffer. Thanks, Tyler. Thanks, mate. We'll go holidaying. Take the winnings and just take it to Crown. Carl, Josh Kelly, shorty, give it to us straight. Is he as soft as an aeroplane jelly, or was he justified in jumping around like he'd been shot on the weekend? Look, Josh Kelly is one of my absolute faves. He's maybe not tough as nails, but yeah, look, probably everyone has their moments at times. I'm a massive Josh Kelly fan, to be fair, but does sound like he might have been jumping around on the weekend. Sounds like he might be jumping teams next year. Big North Melbourne vibes. Not sure exactly where he'll go, but it sounds like he'll definitely leave the club. So I'll be very interested to see how that affects the Giants midfield. I just wonder, can Hopper take his game to the next level? Is he a guy that could just explode from your, high 90s average to 110? Interesting. Langers didn't ask for a personal attack. Was just asking a question. Nothing personal, Jake. Just a couple of blokes having a healthy discussion. I don't think there should be changes. Just got to plan better, son. Also, bring back captains in draft flog. No, mate. I reckon not a personal attack, Jake. Just a guy having an opinion. I think no draft captains has been good because I feel like it's just been more fair. I don't know if there's been an example, but if there was a first-round selection that got injured for the whole year, very, very harsh penalty. You could be left with a bloke. You could literally lose 40 or 50 points a week. And you might say that's just good selecting, but selecting. Anyway, Shorty's tired. Shorty was up at 5 a.m. working. And if you know Shorty, you don't want to see him at 5 a.m. It's not a good look. Nick, what's your thoughts on Taran Thomas for Dusty? Well, this is one of Langer's favourite boys. Taran Thomas has been great. They're not a bad option. I mean, look, there probably are. It depends what you can afford. I still think Thomas is a sort of young player that is still showing signs that could tail off towards the back end of the season. He could keep flying. He could, but I would probably prefer a safer, more reliable option. But, gee, he could be a tasty option next year. Joe, Josh Gibson falling in the shower was the best when we couldn't reverse trades. Yeah, that's right. What the hell? That's a throwback. That's a real throwback. Carl, they're all playing for the second in the Brownlow Stakes. Might as well rename the medal the Dowlow. 13,000 of the silkiest 1 metre handballs in the weekend, and he nearly laid a tackle. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, doesn't he? Doesn't he just love a little offload handball that goes about 0.8 of a metre? He really does. But, hey, I still think your guy can play. He's not going to be what we all thought, but maybe he can make it. Jono, an increase to the salary cap to 12 or 15 mil because the midfield is getting stacked. Don't think that'd be an upgrade of 50%. I think we'd be lucky to get up to 11 mil. Look at the current averages of the mids this year. Yeah, that's true. But look, I don't think we want to make Supercoach too easy. Yeah, I know they want participation and stuff, but you still got to reward the people who plan, the people who pick good starting squads. If you just have cash everywhere and heaps of trades, it's almost like any monkey can get a good team. And I guess that's, Supercoach used to be a lot tougher. And it rewarded people who were better at it. It's probably not the world we live in anymore. Corey, I reckon one chase Supercoach should be that there should be dual position players added in the middle of the season around the buys. Yeah, that's an interesting call. And it breaks both ways on that. Sometimes it helps us because we can select guys in certain areas when they're not actually playing there. And other times we wish a guy was available. I don't know. I think it's a good discussion. I reckon it'd be great if there were more tactical things we could do as super coaches. But Yeah, it's interesting debate. Dimmy Simmy, what a name. Love what you do for the Supercoach community, Shorty. You're a legend. Thanks, mate. I appreciate that. Thanks for jumping on board. And yeah, no, it's a good community. It's a good community. I appreciate you all jumping on board and having a chat, because I tell you what, always enjoy having a chat, but certainly when we're locked down and there's not too much to do, it's good stuff. Langers, your illiteracy is particularly enjoyable with the knowledge of your previous history as a journalist. Yeah, true. I'm just a basic delivery driver now, mate. My journalism career is over. Oh, jeez, you'd think I'd been drinking. This is definitely water. You want to watch the races on the weekend, Jake? We can like Zoom and talk about the horses, bro. Ollie Clifford for Highmore replacement, price range $475K. Let's have a look. And who'd you mention before? Brodie Smith, didn't you? Let's have a look. Get my scroll on. These, my eyes are trash sometimes. They really are. Yeah, fair enough. All right. Well, having looked at that, I know Caleb Daniel isn't quite, what he was, and he gets thrown around. He's actually been playing on ball a little bit. I would probably just go the safe option of Caleb Daniel. And look, probably not Luke McDonald, but I honestly will go Caleb Daniel. I know Smith's had a good month, and Daniel makes us a little nervous with Beveridge, doing whatever. But God, if you lined up Caleb Daniel versus Brodie Smith, you've got to back in the guy who's done it for years, don't you? But that's just my opinion. Old mate, I was joking about Rourke Smith. Well, you got me with a zinger, mate. Yeah, I try to answer every question seriously, because sometimes I get questions that I think are a joke, and then I laugh, and they're not a joke. But good. Integrity reinstalled. Doves with love, ranked 277, brought in Mills and Marshall last week and completely stuffed my season. This is an example of what I'm talking about. Old mate Doves should not be penalised for a perfectly good decision, and they just happen to walk into the wrong cafe or the wrong stadium. Yeah. Anyway. And some might argue getting their average is not fair either, but work out some system. Their last 5 weeks average, their whatever. It doesn't sit well with me, but maybe not everyone agrees with that. Carl, one genuine suggestion, keep to 30 trades or whatever, but no weekly limit. If you want to use 4 trades for round 3, go for it. Just means less down the line. Yeah, I agree. I don't see why, as you say, you're like, go for your life, mate, but you're going to have less down the track. It might bite you in the ass. It might work really well. I'm not sure what other codes do. Like, I presume there's NBA fantasy. I know there's EPL fantasy. So I don't know what they do. Yeah, I should have a ponder. How long is Kelly out for? Eesh. What? Which Kelly? Josh? Is Josh out? Yikes. Help. That's not good. Yeah, if that is the case, I did not know that. Jeremy, g'day, shorty. Only got $458K for Dusty replacement. Got any suggestions? Singing Taron Thomas, averaging 88 since round 8. Cheers, mate. There's a lot of mates in there. A lot of eights, a lot of mates kind of arrangement. Let me have a look for you, mate. That was a tongue twister. What'd you say? for what? 458. I mean, Thomas is flying, but he's young. He's in a poor side. Yeah, I don't know. He's the sort of guy that I'd probably get more excited for looking at next year rather than, bringing in late this year. He's going well. I'd probably go Shai Bolton, mate. I know we can look at their last 4 weeks, their last 6 weeks, and yeah, Thomas is looking better, but I'm backing in Bolton to, the Tigers will be gunning for a top 8. They need to be playing their best footy. They need him to step up. Doesn't always mean he does, but I just think he's it's a bit like that. I said Caleb Daniel versus Brodie Smith. It's sort of a battle between who's been going better previously versus what their overall is. And sometimes it's not always about looking back at what they've averaged. It's what you sort of got to predict they can do moving forward. And I'd be more comfortable with Bolton. But, let me know what you reckon, mate. Even down the track, it'd be interesting to follow that one. Carl might be back this week, Xavier, but has to get through training. Interesting. Yeah, interesting. Teams won't be far off, will they? Socceroos tonight too, I think. I think we're taking on Argentina. Theo, what's going on? I got a donut. I need McCreary or Jones to play. Yeah, I could do with Jones as well. I could definitely do with Jones. You're a legend. We need to have beer. If you're interested, get some chicks. Well, look, I'm always up for a beverage. Langers will attest to that. Yeah, I agree that the Olympics are on, thank goodness. Where you from, mate? You're a Geelong man. But no, look, once we're back open again, Shorty's always floating about on a Saturday night. James, hey, Shorty, love your work, mate. Thanks. How good has Heppel been? Yeah, true. I must admit, he was I haven't made a stack of good calls this year, but he was one of the better ones. He's been great. I'm definitely trading him in. I never anticipated, it was a long shot that I'd keep him all year, but good stuff. He's been great. Langers, I'd love a bit, actually, of potential start picks for next year. Some DDP changes already out. Interesting. My starting forward line might be Mitchie Duncan and Taron Thomas. Yeah, Duncan would be just an absolute dream, wouldn't it, in the forward setup? So, yeah, well, all right. No, I might put that on the list to do. A little next year glance. Pick 2 and you can never watch the others again. AFL, cricket, Olympics, racing, tennis. Oh, well, I'll rule out the Olympics. I could do without. You've got to have AFL. I'll rule out racing. I could, but tennis versus cricket. You knew this would be tough. I'm going to pick cricket, and it's purely because I probably only watch tennis 5 or 6 weeks a year. Mainly just watch the majors, where cricket is like basically the summer and, sometimes throughout our winter as well. So picking footy and cricket, mate, that's a tough question. Xavier, when does Big Bash Supercoach start? It's been that sort of season, hasn't it? Yeah, it has. It has. Not actually sure when it starts. I'm not really a Big Bash Supercoach guy, but I do like watching it. Justin, who do you think might be a surprise retirement end of season? Look, I always thought if Joel Selwood, if the Cats won the flag, I always thought Joel would retire. But then he's penned a deal. So, yeah, not sure, mate. I'd have to have a bit more of a think about that. But, that is an interesting question. If you got anyone in mind, let me know. Ollie, cheers for your help, mate. No worries. No worries. Hopefully you can, hopefully it helped. And, all the best. Klopp Supercoach. Hey, Shorty, hope you're well, mate. Thanks, mate. Hope you're travelling nicely. If you had to choose one of Butters, Buddy, Bolton, or Hawkins, who would it be? I would choose. I'd rule out Buddy and I'd rule out Butters. I just think Buddy, look, he's going to be rested at times, you would think, and he still is a bit up and down. And Butters coming back, I just don't think we can expect him to just. He might, but I don't think we could bank on him just returning to busting out tons. What's Tommy been doing? I know he's been having some pretty handy weeks. Look, the thing is without Cameron, he's either going to do what he did last week or he could do what he did against Carlton. So, Wiedering goes on him, shuts him down, he scores 70. Like, he still gets involved. But, look, he's gone since the bye, 110, 58, 60, 108, 70, 128. I'm going to go Bolton. It's a bit of a forecast call. Just I think he's going to really take a fair bit of time in the midfield where Martin goes. Kane Lambert as well. Like, not that we're going to pick him, but Kane Lambert will pick up a bit of the slack as well. Nick, hey, Ollie, some good defence options under 475. Andrews, Lever, Blitzars, McKenzie. There's some interesting options. Stuart, what mid forward would you recommend 400k and around? What was it? Mid forward. You're looking for a bit of dual position action. Let me have I'll look at the forwards and just see if anyone bobs up. We'll probably wind it up shortly. I'll try and get through. I was nearly through most of the questions. Have a look. Steel Sidebottom shouts out, but there's been a definite positional change, so I don't really like that. Look, there's not much in terms of dual position. Not much at all, mate. Tom Phillips, he turned up. A lot of people would have been waiting for that. Well, not really. They would have turfed him. Look, there's nothing in terms of real dual position. Look, Isaac Heaney, like, I know we're getting desperate and you probably laugh when I say Heaney. Isn't Jaden Stevenson a bit of a roller coaster? Like, Kane Lambert returned 415k. He's only a forward, but and Shea Bolton's 420 and he's mid forward. So I'm not sure how crucial that dual position is for you, but there are a few thoughts. Jono says Cam Rayner 2022. Yeah, he's got to be well in the conversation. Hopefully return the back end of this year, even if it's match sim. I know he's hit the track, like he's obviously he's out for the year, but hopefully he can almost start some serious training and get a decent preseason. I'm not sure what the odds of that are, but Langers, you flog. You would pick cricket. Worst sport in the world. All they do is scream at each other and wear white clothes. Langers, it's an Australian cultural thing, It's you got to understand it. How about one day over summer? Well, let's just watch 5 days of Test cricket against England or against India or against South Africa, against the Kiwis. Give me 5 days. I'll win you over. Cameron, shorty mate, how did the racing tips get on? Last week, below par. They didn't go well. I think I had a shocking start to the day. I ended up backing Nudge Bar at Morfettville, and that sort of brought me back. I think I was down like $10 in the end, so it wasn't a disaster. But I'll be honing in on some selections this weekend. Actually, La Mexicana, I think you'll probably get about 350. Loves the wet. I think it's at race 6 or 8 at Caulfield. One of my favourites. Tipped it before. Loves the wet ground. And, other than that, I'm going to be watching a couple of shows, a couple of podcasts later on. So I'll see what we can do. Theo's in Brunswick. Nice, mate. Well, hey, maybe down the track, things open up. Might catch you around Geelong. You just never know. Justin, my money for retirement is the pig Rocky. Yeah, and he probably slipped straight into some coaching, I reckon. He seems like he's been doing a bit of that. Jono, teams are dropping. Nice. James, hey Shorty, what's your thoughts on captaincy options? I botched it with Grundy last week. Yeah, you wouldn't have been alone there. I'll have a look at the teams right now and go through some captain options as we go. I mean, look, you've probably got to roll the dice with Grundy on the Friday for sure. VC that. There he is, Zach Butters. McRae's back for the Pies, if that's of interest to anyone. Cripps is back in. Cunnington's back in. And look, you've got Melbourne and the Dogs. I reckon your captain might come out of that. It might be Grundy into an Oliver, a Petrarca, a McRae, a Bontempelli, a Gawn, maybe Miller, is the next game. Libber is back. Josh Dunkley is, of course, it says managed, but he's quarantining, isn't he, of course. Nothing too interesting. Oh, my God. Tom Highmore out, injured. Far out, man. That pisses me off. Well, what happened? Did anyone get dropped from the Pies? Any of those young guys? Thank God. All right, we shouldn't cop a zero, but gee, we are running thin down back, I tell you. Running thin as. Hardwick is back. Wingard is back. Scrimshaw is back. A couple of good draft things for my super coach. Jai Newcomb, Medi sub, but he's not in the side. Whitfield is back. We like that. Old mate Hayden Young. The Burn Man. Nah, he's all right. He'll be okay down the track. Amati dropped from the Swans. I thought he was going all right, but interesting. Yeah, well, all right. Yeah, nice. We might I'll smash out a couple of these. Xavier, hopefully Fife gets forward. That's a good point. He might be half a chance. Fife, Duncan, and Martin. That would be very handy. Very handy. Jack says best forward for 502. Well, look, I think Rowan Marshall is still outstanding. I know he's not playing this week, but then you could have a look at DeGoey. I'm not sure if there's anyone sort of right around that mark. And I know it's annoying to bring in a guy that's going to miss this week, but I still think at that price he's a ripper. Otherwise it drops away real quick. Yeah, Bailey Dale, Nick Hind, sort of safe, solid options. But DeGoey's been in great form. And Langers, Dylan Shield is back apparently. That's quite interesting, yeah. Charlie, what to do with Josh Kelly? Gee, did I miss his name? Did I just overlook that? Seeing what I want to see, I think. Oh, no. He's been named on the wing. So unless we got major concerns he's a laid out, let's just cross our fingers, Charlie. Daniel Highmore broke his hand. All right, probably missed that then. I'll let him off for that. Tyler, Tom Hawkins for Dusty. Tommy is cheap. Yeah, I mean, he is, but I'd still probably prefer, I think the main consensus is probably take your pick between DeGoey, Bolton, and Marshall if you're that way inclined. I know, and Hawkins, he could go all right. He could. I'm not saying he's a bad pick, but it's just he has been a little bit inconsistent when Cameron isn't there. I know he's had great years previously, but yeah, that's what key forwards can do. He can also have weeks where he dominates, like last week, just contested marks and goals. So, but yeah, I might wrap it up there, ladies and gentlemen. We've got to the the last question there. So yeah, thanks for jumping in. We've it's been a good little session. It's wide to go. He plays as well as I would. Have a look at his last month, mate. Once Harvey's taken over, he has loved the new role. Bit more mid-time. He's been looking good. Thoughts on Bont into danger for captain? Yeah, nothing wrong with who the Cats got. We got Richmond. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that, mate. Yeah, nothing wrong with it. Not a bad little unique one too, because a lot will probably go Grundy. Thanks, Jono. Good stuff. Well, yeah, I'm probably gonna kick it, get myself some dinner, and watch a bit of the Socceroos tonight. I'm pretty sure they're on at like 8 or something like that. So yeah, I'll chat to you guys later. All the best for the week. Hopefully some of those trades work out nicely for you. I'll be back tomorrow with a bit of a weekend preview and sort of touch on a few of the things we talked about today. So I'll chat to you soon. Have a good one. Cheers.